Hello, I'm Darren Magee, and today's topic is continuing on from the questions around how people end up in toxic relationships with neglectful, abusive, difficult, narcissistic people, and indeed, why do they stay as long as they do. Now, if you like this video, if you find it helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel for future updates on mental health related topics. But just as a reminder, as always, this video is not a substitute for support from a mental health professional, nor is it a tool to be used to diagnose someone. So just to recap, in the previous video I discussed how people often get involved with or stay with difficult, abusive, narcissistic people because they think or can be led to believe that that person has something they need. That person can do something that they can't do. They need that person, and you know what, there may well be times when that could be true, but it tends to come at a very high price. Either that, or it could be continually withheld. The promise of it's there, but it's continually withheld. Or they might just get little breadcrumbs, little tidbits thrown at them once in a while. And some narcissistic people can even create a situation or an environment where someone is dependent on them. For example, they may end up being financially dependent on them, or spiritually or emotionally or whatever, dependent on them. And when people are asking questions like, why didn't I see the red flags? Why didn't I see the warning signs? Well, remember, no one is a mind reader. No one is clairvoyant, and hindsight only comes afterwards. So for today, I'm going to be looking at another reason why some people get involved with difficult, toxic people. And today, I would say this is more common for people with, say, vulnerable or covert narcissistic traits. Okay, so the reason people get involved with, and it's actually the opposite from the last reason, actually, they think they have something that the other person needs. They can do something for the other person. They perhaps feel obligated to that other person, and they may find themselves often being guilt-tripped and shamed and disdain or constantly giving. So for example, they could be in a relationship with someone who is very anxious, very stressed, depressed, under an intense strain somehow. So it's almost like the victim can never go out, can't have friends, family come round or whatever. They can't do anything for themselves because of the distress or the discomfort that that would bring up in that manipulative person. After a while, they may be led to believe that any kind of self-interest means they're being selfish, they're being uncaring. It's almost like they are responsible for their abuser's peace of mind. Or perhaps the controlling person may have an illness or perhaps a physical condition which requires a level of support. And as much as this can be a genuine condition, they maybe do need a level of assistance. What can happen often is that the victim's life just becomes one of servitude. They exist only to serve. It's like their own life has just stopped. Their only purpose is to maybe prepare meals or clean up afterwards, run errands. Anything they want or need to do for themselves has to be done after that controlling person's needs are met. Either that their own needs, their own plans are either watered down somehow, or they are sabotaged. They might hear things like, well, no, you can't go out and visit your friends or your family tonight because I feel ill. Or they may be guilt tripped. They may hear things like, okay, if you're going out tonight, off you go, you enjoy yourself, I will just stay here on my own, ill, in agony and anxious. If they do go out, they may be subjected to constant texts and phone calls to maybe check up on them, find out where they are, how they're doing, or to let them know, I'm all on my own here, and I'm not well here, and I'm struggling here. They may come home to things like, well, how was your evening? Yeah, it was quite good. How were you? Oh, well, I was bored. I was lonely. The victim can be led to believe that they are selfish for even just needing a rest, never mind some space once in a while. Now, like I say, there are some relationships where one person genuinely does need a level of support, but they tend to recognize and respect that their partner still needs a bit of respite once in a while, and they at least show a level of appreciation. But even where there are maybe genuine cases of maybe illness or injury or whatever, there are cases where the manipulator is really just malingering. The condition is grossly exaggerated, or they wear that illness, that condition, almost like it's a badge of entitlement. Their victims are constantly having to run around after them, help them, support them, do things for them. Now, I want to be careful as I'm saying this. I want to be quite clear here, rather. The last thing I want is for people to watch this and think that anybody who needs some kind of help or assistance is controlling and manipulating. They're not. There is a difference. So how do you tell the difference between a genuine need for help and support and someone who is just trying to control and manipulate you? Well, I think first of all, the person who needs the support shows a level of appreciation and reciprocates in some way. They might not give back the same kind of support, but they do give a level of support. In other words, it's reciprocated. They recognize that that other person, the person who's looking after them or helping them, they get tired. They need a bit of respite once in a while. They also recognize that that other person has other priorities and needs as well. And I suppose I'm saying that to say this. Requiring a level of assistance does not make someone narcissistic. But some narcissistic people use that as a tactic to control and manipulate. And I think another indicator could be, in some cases, the victims are never thanked. In fact, they are often blamed for everything that goes wrong. They're often berated for whatever it is they're doing, whatever it is they're providing. It's never enough and it's never done properly. So, lastly for today, the victim believes that they are obligated to their abuser. Now, obligated in the sense that perhaps that person's done them a favor. They've stood up for them at work. They've helped them pay off a debt, helped them get a home, whatever. Helped them to perhaps get away from another toxic person. So I suppose what they could be dealing with there is an altruistic narcissist. But these things that that person's been doing for them, it's a debt that will never be repaid. It's a debt that has something like an interest rate of 500% per day. Any disagreements, any contention, whatever, it's going to be brought up. You are so ungrateful. If it wasn't for me, and on and on. Now, in these kind of cases, the ones that I've mentioned today, it's not uncommon that after a while, the thought of leaving, the thought of saying no brings up a lot of things in the victim. I can't because I owe them. I can't because I have to show gratitude. How are they going to manage without me? How are they going to cope? What are people going to think of me for leaving them to struggle and so on? After all they did for me, I'm going to look selfish. I'm going to look ungrateful. And so they often feel trapped because of what they believe is a sense of obligation. Now, what I would say to people is, if you do owe somebody something, then yeah, maybe show a bit of gratitude. And if you can, either repay it or reciprocate it somehow, within reason, of course. But that is not the same as signing your life over to them. Remember, in some relationships, one person may have to step up a bit, put in a level of support that the other person needs, ways in which they struggle. They need to help them somehow. But it is still a healthy relationship in the sense that there's support and appreciation coming from both sides. Needs are being met on both sides. Both are contributing to the relationship. They may not be contributing the same things, but they are still contributing. What makes it a healthy relationship? What is in the best interest of each other and the family unit, and so on. Again, as I mentioned in the last video, the reasons people don't always recognize these red flags, yes, we're not clairvoyant, but remember, the boundaries being crossed, the things being demanded are often done as maybe little requests. It's a little piece at a time. It takes a long time to brainwash someone into believing that they are perhaps eternally obligated to someone else. And what I would say to people who are perhaps blaming themselves for ending up in a situation like that, well, I think the reason we do that is because when we look back at something, we're often judging ourselves through the eyes of the person we are today. We are judging ourselves through today's wisdom, today's experience and pain, and so on. Remember, hindsight only comes after the event. Narcissistic people, skilled narcissistic people, cross boundaries subtly, once in a while. Most people don't see it until it's too late. And these things are often crossed. They're often intermingled with, perhaps what a great caring person you are. I'm so grateful to you. I'm lucky to have you about. I feel so safe with you, and no one else cares about me. Everybody hates me because of whatever. You're not horrible like they are, until of course you are. So they're just my thoughts on a few more reasons why people end up in these difficult, toxic relationships with people. Now again, if you have any comments, please use the comment box below. There are some interesting conversations starting around these videos. But if you like this video, if you found it helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel for future updates on mental health related topics. And as always, until next time, thanks for watching.